Hi there. We're back. Um, we were been off a couple of weeks. We had to do some medication balancing with Chuck, so we think we're doing good. So whenever we would appreciate it if ever there's a time where you don't see a session with us, that you would just say a prayer for us, because we're in that season where, with everything going on with COVID and stuff, we just kind of go day to day. So we're back and really excited about today. We touched on love languages last time, and the funny thing that happens as we discuss what we're going to talk about, we don't put a script or anything together, but as we talk and share with each other, there's certain things we expect that we're going to share. And when it comes down to doing it, the Lord changes it. And so we never really know what's going to come out. But we're just trusting, we're giving it to the Lord and just trusting that He's going to be glorified through this as we share this design of love that He has for us. So, Lord, we just ask that you take over. On the love languages with Gary Chapman, our position on this is we have through the years, we have all of our couples do this because it gives an intimate understanding of communication with each other that you can intentionally do. And as I was reading Gary Chapman's book, if you haven't already picked it up, we would recommend that you do that if you're able to, because just reading it this morning for the preparation of this is just so rich with tools. And our goal always is that you leave our session with tools. And one of the first points that he made was falling in love and how much we all long to do that, and the desire that we can share our life with someone and our love and our gifts, and to be able to really build into someone's life. And he talks about how being in love is really a fantasy because when we first meet and we're in love, oh my goodness, we're really on our Sunday best behavior. And we're seeking ways that we can bless and please each other. So we're really on our best behavior. And so it's really, even if our engagement were to go a couple years, we're still pursuing and wooing each other. And we may have stressful moments, but we're so willing to work through them to enrich in the relationship. So it's really a fantasy. And one of the things that Chuck always uses an example of marriage relationship, he always talks about the toilet paper roll. Well, now I realize where he got it, because Gary Chapman mentions that we discovered that there's two ways for the roll to go on.
Well, there's a right way and a wrong way. There's my way and there's your way.
Well, and I have to confess that I'm 74, so I was probably 50 years old before I realized that there was a difference. I guess I just never paid attention. It was a utility, and I never paid attention. Now I know, and I am particular about what way it goes on. But once we get in the marriage relationship, the nitty-gritty hits, and we've got serious things to work through, and it's finances, and then children, and jobs, and health, and all these things. And we may not feel in love, and so we're wondering what's happened. And I was praying about this morning, and I realized that's what drives a lot of affairs, because that desire and that longing to feel in love. And I know that we have spoken it, I have spoken to you, that I need to feel in love. But you have to keep building on that. So as I went through this, Gary says it much better than I can ever. So I've kind of highlighted some key points that I'm just going to go through the section of falling in love.
Well,
And
it's important to know that the love is, what our goal is, but we really don't know what love is.
we don't know what love
And
is.
the Lord gets us together and puts us together, and we really, there's no clear definition until we're able to sit with Him and get together with each other and allow ourselves to learn what love really is. That's what Lila's going to talk about.
Because it's not always that fuzzy feeling.
Right.
It is initially when we're in love. And Gary says, one of his quotes, "Our dreams before marriage are of marital bliss. It is hard to believe anything else when you're in love."
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. We have found that with when we do pre-married. And their assessments are just glorious because some of them haven't even had a conflict yet. So they just think love is perfect. And there even is a category on the assessment of where they're just kind of looking through rose-colored glasses.
When somebody will say to me, "We never argue," okay, well, that really is clear to me that you need to understand that there's going to be arguments, there's going to be disagreements, there's going to be things that you don't agree on, and that's part of love.
Because you maintain your individuality.
You're still trying to be independent from the other person.
Okay, he says in one of his paragraphs, unfortunately, the eternality of the in-love experience is fiction. It's not a fact. And all of a sudden, we wonder what happened to that in-love feeling and experience and that getting us to know that you're going to be together.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend, we're chaplains for the Wyoming Highway Patrol, and someone in leadership there, the precious wife, just wrote, after 37 years, we just finally became best friends. And she says she's all Twitter-pated again. And that does happen. There's many times as we might feel I'm not in love, there's times we also feel that excitement, and we do feel that Twitter-pated feeling of excitement. Sure. of being together. And even though we live alone, because our kids are grown and married, we still feel like we still want to be alone and escape, like take a drive or go somewhere, just to remove any distractions from our attention to each other. So the in-love experience is gone, and alas, it was but an illusion by which we were tricked into signing our names on the dotted line. Did we really have the real thing? We might ask ourselves. He says, I think so. The problem was faulty information. Mm-hmm. That's why premarital counseling is so important. Then he says, the in-love experience does not focus on our own growth, nor on the growth and development of the other person. Rather, it gives us the sense that we're arrived. So especially if we've waited a long time, and it reminds me of that song at the end of that rocky road led to you. So sometimes couples wait a long time mm-hmm. before they find who they feel is their soulmate. So when we're searching for that feeling of belonging and being accepted and sharing. Some researchers say that it shouldn't even be called love at all. And as we know about the different kinds of love, it's definitely an eros love of infatuation, and eros is a root word for erotic. And so when we meet someone who we feel is our dream person, it's real. What we feel is nothing like what the marriage is going to be like, most likely.
Well, we haven't learned yet of the kind of love that God has for us. The eros is one that is part of our love, but we also are going to get to a place where we're going to learn what agape love and agapao love is.
The hard stuff.
The hard stuff, and it basically is the time that we draw so close together that the love is unbreakable,
Right.
and it's it's not understandable, but it's there, and that especially the agape love. Most of the time when couples are having problems, the only thing that keeps them together is agape love.
Right.
Because they know that God has drawn them together. They have children. They've committed to being together and fulfilling that commitment. They've just gotten to a place where they may not be understanding how to do it, how to make that agape love work.
And he says, secondly, falling in love is not real love because it is effortless. The only effort we put into it is maybe deciding what we're going to wear or where we're going to go to dinner or
Right.
what we're going to do for the evening. And when you're just so much in love, nothing, you're really ignoring, circumstances around you aren't meaning
Right.
anything. Third, one who is in love is not generally interested in fostering the personal growth of the other person, because I like how I feel when I'm with you. So then it's more about me. I want to be in love with you. I want to be with you because I like the way I feel when we're together. And so I'm not really worrying about you, how you feel.
Right.
I'm worried about myself. If falling in love is not real, what is it? And it is a temporary emotional high. And then at that point, and now you pursue real love with our spouse, and that's not easy. Rational, volitional love is the kind of love to which the sages have always called us. You know, I wasn't going to read that because I don't really know what that means. That sentence doesn't make sense to me, so I didn't intend to.
Well, but the stages of love, it takes time. Again, it takes the kind of time between agape love and agapao love. Agape love is what you get without question.
Because it's a supernatural.
It's supernatural. Agapao love is the return love that we're supposed to invest. It's kind of like the rock. It's kind of where we are returning the love that we have for each other, and trying to, and again, I'll use it just once or twice here, but being selfless, being
Right.
having the kind of love that allows you to love your husband, love your wife, love your children, irregardless of what they do.
And Gary says this book is about rational love and intentional. And I have underlined things, the kind of love that begins with an attitude. It's a way of thinking. Then it gets into the love languages. So the intent is that the love languages, once we know what our relationship exists of in the languages between us, then it's something we intentionally pursue.
Right.
So we've been encouraged by the notes that we've received and input, and especially that couples have taken the test, purchased the book, and using it for their date nights and discussing it even in groups. So we're obviously not even going to have time to get in. The first one is words of affirmation.
But let's take a second to explain that as we look into the love languages and you determine what your love language is, you're also at the same time want to begin to learn what your spouse's love language is. And in those two processes, what you're going to be doing is with God's heart, with God's mind, with God's hand, begin to understand how it is that that you communicate with your spouse, that you communicate with the Lord. And often that's difficult because there's a lot of times that, well, I don't care if he loves this or loves that. This is what I like. And so
And today it's all about me.
And today it's all about me. And
we do have those moments.
Right. It takes a while to learn to be selfless.
And God's plan, the fruit of all of this, the value of all of this is God's plan for marriage relationships is that you experience abundance in loving and in being loved, abundance in sharing, abundance in cleaving. And this knowledge helps us put boots on the ground
Right.
in our relationship, and it has to be intentional. So,
just one last statement: if you understand that the Lord loves you without reservation, that's agape love.
right,
And if you can bring that into your own thinking, then you're on the way. You're getting a start to learning to return that love to your spouse.
and isn't it 1 Corinthians 13 that says love is and defines?
Right.
So read 1 Corinthians 13 and put your name there. That Lila's love is not selfish. Lila's love is patient and
Right.
kind and all of those things. And that gives you the definition of
Because right.
love.
What happens is it gives you the power
Amen.
to have that ability to love the other person, irregardless of what's going on. So,
Regardless of circumstances
you all-
like COVID-19.
Yeah, you all have a good week, and again, keep the questions coming, and we'll get through this. We just feel this is a very important part of this session and these sessions, because if we don't understand each other, if we don't know each other,
And like each other.
And
And that's phileo love. Philadelphia comes from the root word phileo. And phileo is friendship.
right.
And friendship is so important too.
Right.
So it may take a while because it's so important, but our plan is to continue and define and
Right.
explain what it looks like when we put this into practice.
Right.
So God bless you. We pray for you. And
We'll see you next week.
yeah, God bless.